Welcome to this week's Swarf and Chips. Well, how lucky am I as this week I've got the Mitchell brothers joining me on the chairs as we discuss a selection of exciting topics which include affordable excellence from Okuma and NCMT, solid lock clamping on Honor VTLs, Paul looks at how to make prismatic parts on a sliding head lathe, whilst Gio travels to Kim Bolton talking automated work holding. We then conclude this week's feast of topical machining talk with a question. What's the difference between plasma cutting and flame cutting? And this is a chance for you to get involved, and this is all coming up on this week's show. So in all seriousness, who is Phil, who is Peggy and who is Grant?
I'm definitely Grant.
He's Billy.
Billy?
I'm definitely
Billy,
Grant.
Barry.
Either Billy or Peggy.
Or maybe.
Is Barry Mitchell? Is that a person?
Did you know you're 99 times more likely to die if you're in a soap opera than in real life?
Well, I've seen your acting, so you're safe.
You're safe. Because he wanted to marry Gail Platt, but he thought it'd be too risky.
Who's Gail Platt?
Stop it! Stop it!
Gail
Right.
Platt?
Okay. In all seriousness, Joe, we haven't seen you for a while. What have you been up to?
I've been busy, Lyndsey.
Yeah.
Some of us have got to do the work.
I know.
No, the company's exponential growth at the moment. Everyone's busy, and myself included. Good to be on the set.
Yeah.
Busy doing nothing.
Busy fall.
And you, Paul, any updates?
Yeah, no, all good, all good. Same
Yeah.
as Joe, a little bit busier than him as usual.
Yeah. And podcasts are going well?
Podcasts are going well. People, a lot of people listening, a lot of subscribers. Still maintaining the 500,000 people a month watching the channel, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, good.
Good news all round.
And listening.
And listening, good. Okay, so let's get underway now. Remember, throughout the show, please feel free to comment on MTDCNC or on YouTube, all in the comments box below. Let us know what you think about the topics we're talking about and have your say. This is your chance to get involved too. Anyway, first up, we head to the Midlands as Mark visits Kim Kerr talking Okuma and how the machines are both affordable and excellent quality. And get your diaries out because there's a date you need to keep in your mind.
Lyndsey, I've travelled all the way to Birmingham today with Ian from NCMT. We're here at Kerr Precision in Birmingham. Now, Ian, this is a very small subcontracting company and they've got this fabulous Okuma lathe. Now, could you tell us a little bit their journey and how they've actually sort of come to the decision to make this big investment?
Well, basically, Mark, Dean came to us at Mac, really just coming to look around the machines, not feeling that he could actually afford an Okuma in his own words. But eventually we got to sit down after Mac and go through some of the figures, and it worked out that actually, it was an affordable machine for Dean, and that's where we've ended up today with the machine actually sat on the shop floor and in production.
And does it give them extra capacity to offer to the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, this machine is an MY machine, so there's milling and the Y-axis on the machine. Before, Dean was having to two-op, so he was doing his turning and then he was taking the parts off to then go and do the milling on a separate machine. And
one thing about Okuma and NCMT, it's a fantastic brand, but I understand in April you've got a special open house which is actually trying to invite smaller customers in, smaller subcontractors to say there is options to actually buy an Okuma.
Yes, definitely. We're opening up our showroom on the 2nd and 3rd of April. The title is Affordable Excellence. So in our showroom there, you'll be able to see Genos machines, our 5-axis Genos machines from a vertical point of view, vertical machining centre point of view, also our multitasking machines, which are also affordable. So we'd actively encourage all subcontractors, smaller machine tool companies who potentially feel that they can't, an Okuma may be at their price range. It isn't, and we would actively encourage people to come in and see our machines and really just get a feel for them and see what they can get and the quality machines they can buy for their money.
That's great, Ian. Now, save the date, 2nd and 3rd of April, NCMT, Coventry, for their open house.
I think that's a perfect example, going to Mac, and people do say this, you think this machine's out of my reach, but really, they're not.
I didn't know there was 3 Mitchell brothers.
Yeah.
I'm joking here. It just shows, though, I think you're right. I think what's interesting here is that they're not the only manufacturer to be building more machines with the same technology that's on their, let's say their premium machines, but they're doing it on an economies of scale. They're building more, they're selling more, keeping the prices down. Where I think this is going to be interesting is that some of the companies that have been selling lots of machines into subcontract engineers, 2, 3, 4-axis lathes in the last decade or so, could now face these as a competitor,
yes.
which means it's going to be tough for them, but it's great for the buyer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you can't really call an Akuma a commodity machine, but they're cost-effective solution. I've seen a few of these. What I like about it, if you take all the CNC stuff away, you look at it, it's an old school machine, it's hard, it's a big, robust, single piece cast iron casting, rib casting, just a heavy, robust machine. The fact to say old school, it's a compliment, it's not a negative at all. Very well built.
Yeah.
And whereas, like I was saying, maybe there would have been 10 to 12 or maybe even more machines you could have selected from. Now that's going up to 16 or 17. So like I say, it's good if you're an engineer searching the market.
Wraparound ways. It's just a well-built machine. My only thing with it is, will it not erode their sales of their premium machines? Because that will do 99% of applications.
Talk to Nigel Atherton, XYZ LR machines, linear rail machines versus his box guideway. He thought by bringing in linear rails was going to take some of his box guideway sales away, didn't it? Just almost doubled his sales numbers.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
And if
kind
you
of
like
proof.
EastEnders, then there's 3 of us.
No. Right. Yeah, and don't forget their open house in April. 2nd to the 4th of April.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah. If not, they'll put them on the screen. It's all on there. Right. Next up, we're discussing a unique and patented method of clamping. So over to Paul, who went to Titan Wheels.
A great educational feature today on Swarf and Chips. I'm here at Titan Steel Wheels with Andy Bailey from DTS UK. Andy, you supply these Honda machines, fabulous installation here. But the topic in conversation is here, with a vertical lathe, the deeper the cuts you can take, the better. And your solid lock is an ideal solution to that, isn't it, from Honosiki?
Well, yes, it's the Honosiki patented design, which basically gives 2 faces of clamping. As I say, it's patented. It gives them a lot of high clamping force. With clamping force, obviously, you get rigidity, you get better tool life.
So this is an example of the tool holder here, and essentially what we're seeing here is that by clamping this in the way that you do, you get, instead of maybe 2 or 3 tons of clamping force, you get 10 tons.
Correct, yeah. I mean, most traditional clamping force is around about 3 ton, 4 ton maybe. This is 10 ton, and it gives better, rigidity and better tool life.
As an example of that, these guys were doing an operation, weren't they, where they were doing it in 3 cuts on another machine. What did they get it down to on here?
2 cuts, 33% saving.
So instead of doing 3 passes, they did the operation in 2. Wow, that's a huge saving. Would it have an impact on surface finish as well by incorporating this mechanism?
So far they've seen a big improvement, and they're still playing with all the cutters from various suppliers, but same tooling on other machines, which is stalling the tool. On this machine, they're being able to cut through and get a good finish on the machine.
Ideal there. So if you're looking at improving your efficiency on a VTL, then this machine may reduce the amount of operations or the amount of cuts you need to make as a result of the solid lock patented design from Honosiki and available from DTS UK. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Paul.
So before we discuss the solid lock system, don't forget you too can have your say using the comments feature on both YouTube and MTD CNC below. So Paul, how good was this system?
It's a brilliant system, and yeah, like you said, I'd be interested to know what people's opinions are about not just this system but vertical lathes, because they're becoming a very common seller for machine tool companies. And there's lots of reasons why. I mean, this is specifically for wheel applications, but vertical turning means that the swarf's falling away, the machines are easier to set and easier to load. And there is actually an argument to suggest that the machines are more durable and they last longer. Like the force is downwards on the machine as opposed to a horizontal. I mean, a bit like if Joe stood on a vertical lathe, it would take his weight, but you stick him in a horizontal one and you might be struggling. I think the old spindle line.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Are you friends?
Just back to work, if you will. So the big issue with the VTL is quite often they're large components, and taking that off and putting a new one on is often as long as the machining process. Just seeing this video, were we now saying it's going to be much quicker to take apart on and off?
Well, yeah, I mean, a vertical lathe naturally is easier to set, but I think the reason that Titan Wheels bought this, which didn't go into in this video, is the fact that they were reducing their cycle times by 33% as a result of
because you can hit it harder.
Deeper cuts, hit it harder, better surface finishes, patented all from DTS UK.
Yeah, a nice system.
So if you want to know any more, of course, do contact.
Let us know what you think. Yeah, do you use vertical lathes? Are they machines you could use? And if you did, would you benefit from being able to take fewer cuts deeper?
Yeah. Okay, so next this video, I've got to say, Paul, you had me gripped because we're going to put a picture on the screen as the topic is fascinating. Have a look at these parts now How would you, or what machine would you attempt to make these parts on? Paul took a trip to Star GB in Derby, so take a look.
Alec, we're here at Star GB. This is a really interesting topic, this is about the components that you have or are going to be supplying as a turnkey project to a customer. Can you just give us a little bit of an overview?
For sure, this is for our customer TNC Precision, Wickford in Essex. They bought a machine at Mac last year, SW20. In less than 12 months they've come back for their second.
So this particular part, I think what's really interesting here is our viewers will look upon this and think, hang on a minute, I should be machining that on a VMC or a 5-axis machine. What are the differences to doing it on a sliding head lathe, and why have they gone down this road?
With this particular model, the SV38R, we've got the facility with a platen and a turret to sort of balance mill both sides of this component at the same time. So customer looked at different combinations, different machine tools, but fortunately ours was the best solution. We give him a really good cycle time, and it made sense for him to sort of try and win this component back from China, which he did.
And the fact that you can run the machine unmanned overnight as well means he doesn't have to have an operator continually loading and checking parts. It just keeps going.
For sure. I mean, TNC have got 4 of our machines already, so they're quite familiar with the unmanned running capability of Star. But he's already said that it will make a huge difference in that he can just leave this running in the background, making him some money.
Joe, are you surprised that they're capable now of making parts like this and it is now on a sliding head machine?
In truth, I'm not, but when you look into the marketplace, the perception is you couldn't make that on a slider. In fact, even sliding head users wouldn't necessarily think that. But when you look at this machine with a turret on the front, I think it's a 10 station and 8 tools on the sub-spindle as well. You know, you balance milling. It's not infinite, of course it's not, but if it can be machined on a VMC, it can be machined on there, providing it's within the.
But is it quicker?
I would say so. That part without question would be, because you could do half on the front using the turret and half on the sub spindle using the tools on the back. So to me, it's you've just got to almost re-engineer, rethink the way you machine something.
But then more and more
traditionally that was done on the mill.
I'd
more and more people are going to be buying these machines.
Absolutely, and I'd be interested to hear as well from the audience as to whether they're making parts like this and they're going to go, actually, there's a new way of engineering this component, a new way of making it running unmanned.
But typically that would be done on a VMC, even if they've got sliding head lathes in their facility.
So why are they doing it on that?
Because it's faster, it's more cost effective.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you can get on the sliding head, anything. Certainly 99% of jobs, if you can fit them on the sliding head, they will be quicker on the sliding head than on a VMC or a standard
Tools are
lathe.
closer together.
It's like re-engineering it, right? Okay, so coming up next, our work holding specialist, Giovanni, headed to Kimbolton to talk about his favourite topics: wine, jam sandwiches. No, it's modular automated clamping.
This week we're looking at automated work holding solutions, and then this is a bit of a new solution that I've not really been fully aware of in its entirety. We've been fully aware for a long time of Microlot's mechanical solution. Now we have an hydraulic solution, but this is not just a fixed solution or a dedicated solution. Most automated solutions are dedicated to their application. But with this particular system here, we've got the hydraulics that runs into a cylinder, and it's been retrofitted to pretty much the standard Microlot solution. So you've got your moving jaw, and you've got your fixed jaw, which doesn't require any hydraulics whatsoever. We've got the simple connection that can be put into the machine, and just literally your open and close signals need to be sent through this, and it's so flexible and modular. So the moving jaw can be moved anywhere along the grid plate, and the fixed jaws can be moved anywhere along the grid plates too. You can have hard jaws, soft jaws for irregular shaped parts. Flexibility is the main purpose of this, to have a flexible automated solution. I've not really seen anything better yet. Back to you in the studio, Lyndsey.
Oh, Gio, he loves a good hydraulic clamp, doesn't he?
He loves his work
He
holding.
loves them.
Isn't he looking well?
Yeah.
Tonsillitis has gone.
Yeah, tonsillitis, yeah.
I think this is about getting rid of the operation of having to clamp every one of those clamps. It's all done via the hydraulics. It's done on an M code on the machine.
No brainer.
Reducing, getting rid of the downtime that you would have set in the machine. There was one of the customers that I got that had this system, and they got a payback in 4 months of return on their investment.
I can believe my favourite thing, it's an expandable system, similarly to your waistline. It can be easily expanded.
Well, I was going to say that the hydraulics on this, Joe has them to do his shoelaces up and his belt up. The one on his belt.
Too late, mate.
The oil line.
4 month payback was really good.
covered him in oil.
Anyway, great system for a horizontal, the VMC, pretty much any milling machine.
Absolutely.
Fab. Okay, now we conclude this week's show with a question, and probably one that would have most of you totally stumped, which is the difference between plasma cutting and flame cutting. And Paul recently found out at the PP Group in Oldham.
I'm here in Oldham. I'm at the PP Group. I'm with Peter McCabe. Peter, I want to find out from yourself and demonstrate to our audience the differences between plasma cutting, flame cutting, and using lasers as well, where you see the differences.
It's a lot to do with the size of components that you're cutting. For instance, if on plasma, if we just look at 30mm thick across the board, if we were cutting a plate that was, say, 6 metre by 1800, we would plasma cut it all the time, because big area, it produces a lot quicker than a flame would. However, if the requirement were 60mm by 30mm, then we would put it on the flame, because you get a squarer, cleaner cut with the plasma on profiles that size. Because the machine's moving that fast, they tend to tip into the torch and cause damage. So it is. Sorry.
So I was going to say, then where does laser then fit in that?
Similar circumstances, just on the thinner gauges.
On the thinner gauges, okay. And with these curve machines you've got here, you've got flame cut and plasma cut. Yeah. Is the reason that you've got both of those on this same bed the fact that you have such diverse heights and thicknesses of materials and sizes of materials?
Yeah, there's every chance that material we put on the plasma machine, it will also need flame cutting as well. The way the factory is designed, everything in this bay is carbon steel, whether it be water jet, laser, flame, plasma. There's only carbon steel in this bay.
And then from the water jet side as well, then that's a fourth process. What's the restrictions with that, or what's the opportunities with that for much bigger components?
It reduces the machining cycle that people have. Items years ago that maybe would have needed flame cutting, some companies now will go to water jet, one, to reduce the heat and make it easier for machining, and two, because you get closer to the finished edge in the first place, and you can reduce machining cycles by 10.
So really, and you practice all of these four processes here, don't you?
Yes, we do, and everything's driven by our own software. We've been writing it for the last 20 years, so our software knows which components are best suited to which machines.
Wow, brilliant. Okay, so there's a really good insight there into the differences between flame cutting, plasma cutting, using lasers, and also water jet. Can't forget to mention that they have the ultra sharp plasma here as well from Kerr Developments, and that just gives you, is that just a better surface finish than the plasma?
Yeah, it gives us the edge. When we're offering laser cut components and the laser beds are not big enough, we don't give them a laser component, but it's not far off, and we can go up to 12 metre by 3 metre, which covers most of what plates available commercially.
So Paul, what is the difference?
Yeah, Paul, what's the difference?
Didn't you watch?
Yes, I did, but I want you to say.
So it's all down to the thicknesses of materials, the types of materials that you're cutting, illustrated here perfectly in my interview with Peter.
So why not water jet, ever think?
Well, I think that would probably come down to the cost of the machinery, because you're right, water jet, they showed me an application there that was 1 metre in height that they'd water jetted. So
could it cut through your sandwich? Probably not, but there's a fair usage policy.
No, and I think the thing is with this, you get the difference between plasma and laser. It's a bit like the guide bush, non-guide bush joke, I get probably. But in all seriousness, this company has grown substantially. And one of the things that's interesting in another video I did with him is they actually have a maximum of what they call 5% book debt, which means none of their customers have more than 5% of essentially their service, which means if they ever lose a customer, they've never lost a big part of their business.
Not putting all the
that
eggs
doesn't mean
in
they
one
don't
basket.
stop growing their customers, because if one goes up to 7 or 8, they then grow the business to bring that back down to 5. Very successful company.
Yeah, it's a clever way of doing it. That must be challenging. If somebody wants to quadruple their sales with you, you can't walk away.
Well,
from it.
they have done. They have done
Really?
because there's too much risk. They got caught out with that several years ago, and now they've said if one goes up to 10, they'll go out and get more business, and they'll bring that 10 back down to 5.
It's quite interesting to hear
Good
that.
idea.
And it keeps people on the feet.
Yeah.
A little bit of healthy
you
competition.
need to go and get
Never
more
heard of that,
business.
book debt.
No, but if you go and get more business, it'll bring it down because you haven't got much.
Very true. Well, I wouldn't get booked at either because I never buy books.
I don't think we should do a swap with these two again. They talk too much. They're like two ladies.
Well, it's over now
Yeah,
anyway, it's
yeah,
over
yeah.
now.
Oh, right. So that's another show done. And don't forget to have your say using the comment section on YouTube and MTD CNC below. Next week's show comes all the way from Taiwan as Paul and Colin go east to one of the world's fastest growing international machine tool shows. Paul, you're going along on a long haul flight.
Long haul flight, yes, yeah, all the way to Taiwan, just for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We've been invited. What are you saying? We've been
alcohol,
invited
no
there
alcohol.
we've been invited there for the week, and we're going to go and use that to promote our new channel, the global channel, which is obviously going to be taking shape over the course of the next few months.
Fantastic. Okay. So don't
Hope
forget.
you make it.
So don't forget to subscribe to our channel in order to be notified of all new Swarf and Chips footage. And not everything that we film for Swarf and Chips features on our Friday show too. So make sure you're not missing out by subscribing on the channel, or you can go to Swarf and Chips TV. And don't forget, as we always say, keep those spindles turning.